Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julia and this is a library card education. Today I'm going to discuss with you my 8th graders picks for this next coming year for 2026-2027. And I want to apologize in advance. We have all sorts of tractor trailers going around our yard and our neighbor's yard. They're cutting alfalfa for the cattle, so it's a little bit loud. And if you can see behind me, I have a tank full of little tiny cheeps cheeping away. So you might hear some cheeps and some little cheep scuffles because they do that sometimes. So let's get started. Fair warning, this is going to be a long video. Last year I gave an overview of what my children typically do. This year I am, well, let's just say I have a lot of books that I'm gonna let you guys see just what we're planning. So without further ado, Denison, Algebra 1. She started this. We've decided to let her just take a break for summer, and we're going to do this slow. I thought about having her do this through summer and then start geometry later this year. I'm just gonna have her do this 3 or 4 days a week and have her just enjoy the process of doing algebra. I don't want to start something and then have to finish it the following year. So we're just gonna take our time with this. She loves Denison. This is a win. I will always, always, always recommend this. That was the easy one. This is where it starts getting complicated because I have a lot of books for every single subject. Basically, she's going to be functioning at an honors to AP level high school course load. She's been able to do that for a couple of years, so we're going to continue with that. And I'm actually going to show you pretty much everything she's going to use with the exception of what she's going to want to do for independent studies and things that she picks to add into her weekly schedule for herself. We're going to start with language arts after the Denison. So this is, I don't know if you can see it, it's St. Thomas More series. This is the enjoyment book. This is an old vintage copy. This is late 1930s, early 1940s. And let you see just what she gets into. If you want to pause. So that's kind of what she's going to go over. And it's literally just a study of literature. Some of it's from a Catholic perspective. Some of it is American. Some of it's from around the world. And it has narration prompts. It has project prompts. It has study prompts. It has vocabulary prompts. We will be using a little bit of everything. Not sure how, not sure when, not sure how deep. But this is going to be a book that she's going to have for her main language arts. We're going to follow that up with 101 Great American Poems. Our theme this year is American history. It just so happens to line up with the 250th anniversary. That was not planned. It just happened with our cycle. She will be starting to study G.K. Chesterton, one of her favorites. In fact, she is in process of writing a letter to an actor that plays him on one of her favorite EWTN shows. So he gave us his email address and she's going to write him. This is Life of Fred. This is the language arts series. This is B, so it's begin teaching. She's already part of the way through this, and when she's done with this, she will go on to C, and hopefully we will finish book D before the end of the year. So if you do books A through D, it's considered 1 year of high school grammar. Actually, 1 year of high school language arts, but we're using this solely as a grammar. I'm taking some of my ideas from this book I have for many years, just throwing that up there so people can see if they're interested in researching. So go into her narrations. Now I printed this out. I've printed the entire book out, but I don't have my binder set up yet. So we are doing year 1 of the Art of Composition. And that's simply Charlotte Mason, and we're gonna see how it goes. Put that over here so it doesn't get bent up. We are continuing on with writing our Catholic faith. and this is the last book in their series for grade 8. Once she is done with this, we will move on to a vintage penmanship series. This next book I'm waffling on. I don't know if I want this book or the next book. This is the Legacy of Simply Charlotte Mason, the Legacy brand, Legacy series rather, of Spelling Wisdom, book 4. I've looked through this entire book and I think that she can pretty much do this book easily. So I might bump her up to book 5, and depending on how well she does with book 5, we just might skip this altogether and just worry about what her corrections need to be in her actual narrations. Trying to keep everything organized and it's not working. Okay, next we are going into science. I'm going to start with the literature book she has for science. And these are forensic science based on ancient history. Same with this one. It's a thick book. And then these are 2 topics that she likes to study. And for her first science spine, she's going to continue with God's Design from Master Books, Chemistry and Ecology. She picked this one. This is the one that she's been wanting to do since last year. So I've gone through and put little notes in there as we are Catholic, so anything that may come up that I think needs to have a little bit more context to it, I add footnotes. Her second science choice, and this is one that she chose for herself. When she's done with this, she will actually earn a 1 high school credit of science. This is book 1. And this is Evolution, the Grand Experiment, Volume 1. And this is book 2. And this is the teacher guide. And that's for grades 9 through 12. And that's a general history or a general science credit. And then she wanted to continue and study this topic, dinosaurs through a young Earth perspective. We have tons of resources for old Earth and evolution. She wants to see what the other side has to say. And again, those are all master books. This is also master books if you're interested. Science is done. We are going to move on to theology. Oh my gosh. Okay. Another vintage book. This is very unique. This is Benziger Brothers. This was the publisher for the Holy See back in the 1800s and first part of the 1900s. So this book has a papal approbation, which outranks a imprimatur. It's like comparing a Buick to a Bentley. This would be the Bentley. And so there's even the letter that Pope Leo wrote in here supporting this book and what it teaches. And surprisingly, for all the Catholics that say Catholics aren't young Earth, guess what this teaches? This teaches young Earth. Page 7. If you can come across a copy of this, page 7, young Earth dating. She will be doing 2 catechisms. Catechism of Pope Pius, Saint Pope Pius X. And in addition to that, this is a 3-book series. This year and possibly next year, she'll be focusing on this one, the first book. And if you've ever heard of Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen, he actually did some writing in this book. He did the preface in this book. But this is the radio version of his show, essentially. It's kind of the vibes that you get. We're going to continue that on with a book called Clean Love in Courtship by Father Lasance. Oh, it's not Lasance, it's Lovasic. Great book. Modesty, chastity, purity from a traditional Catholic perspective. None of that theology of the body trash. The real authentic stuff. We're also going to start studying papal encyclicals. So this first one, Pope Pius X on modernism. We will also be going through Humane Generis, which also talks about Catholics knowing, studying young earth. Ooh, do we notice a theme here? And then this is the book, The Syllabus of Errors. You can print it off, but I decided I'd just rather pay the $4 off of Amazon and get the pre-printed copy. Makes my life easier. And then she's going to read from the Von Trapp family stories. This has been republished. It is a gray cover. I have it somewhere. Gray with blue or green olive leaves that go around the sides. It's pretty much the same book, but this is just happens to be a first edition. These are teen and adult catechetical graphic novels. I only have the first two up here. It's a set of 3. And that's the second book. And then this is where we're going to start getting to be a little bit spicy. That might cause some hot takes and some people to lose their minds, and that's okay. I like doing that. We're using this, not the whole book, just bits and pieces of it. This is also from Master Books. In this particular level, they go into the 5 solas. So they're having their students go through the creation of essentially their own creeds, their own documents, what they believe, what they don't believe, what their parents believe, do they agree with it, do they don't agree, or do they not agree with it? That whole kit and caboodle throughout the year. It's one question, one topic per week. And I was going to go through this week by week with her, but I've decided just to pull out the examples of the 5 solas and tie that into the heresies of modernism and the Catechism of Pope Pius X. So that's what we are using that for. I want my children to be able to see for themselves what the 5 solas look like in writing from someone else's perspectives, not just Catholics. Oh, this is what your 5 solas are: sola fide, sola scriptura, sola, I don't speak Latin very well, so it's like sola gratia, grace. It's the grace alone, Christ alone, and through Christ alone. And so I thought it was, my husband and I think it's important, since we are from a very anti-Catholic family and we come from a Southern Baptist background, that our children need to be able to recognize these things out in the wild without mom and dad spoon feeding them everything. That's how we're choosing to do it. You may not agree with it. That's fine. You do your thing. And then this I just got. This is mine, but I'm thinking because my children like it so much, I'm going to get one for them. This is the Inspire Catholic Bible. It is a coloring and journaling Bible. Mine is large print, just because I can't see very well anymore. And you have pages like this that are just for note-taking, but you can do all of your little doodles. And then you have pages like this where you have things to color. And it's like that throughout the entire Bible. It's not a translation that I particularly enjoy. I don't know if it says, I think it's the New American Translation. Doesn't, I'm sure it says somewhere, but I don't feel like staring at it trying to find it. Not my preferred translation, but it's fun, it's enjoyable, and I wanted something that kind of brought a little bit of creativity into Bible studies and theology studies, and my children like it, so I think I'm going to get them each their own copy for Christmas. We're done with theology. Now we're going into history. And this is another big one. So we've decided to stay the course and finish this year out, this series out for my daughter. This is Story of Civilization by Philip Campbell. He is a TLM Catholic. There is some things back here once you get to Vatican II that we are kind of not a fan of, but with what we've chosen for theology, that will combat this very well. We're going to follow that up with this. We're going to add this. She will read through this. And now where we're going to possibly upset a lot of other people, we are going to be doing this 2-book series from Master Books. She's definitely going to be doing, let's see, which one is it? I think it's this book. The book 1, this is what she is definitely going to be using. I've started going through this with my bookmark, and I am adding footnotes on all of these pages throughout. The main purpose of this was this particular book goes into kind of like a biographical sketch of all of the important players of the American Revolution. And I wanted her to see it written from a Protestant perspective. We can get secular perspectives up and down and all around from the library. We have our Catholic books, so she's seen those 2 perspectives a lot. We have not seen it through a Protestant perspective, and the writing is very different depending on which of those 3 lenses that you look at. So I think that's important, A. B, they teach it from a positive Christian Bible themed perspective, that this was providence, it was ordained by God, everything is good, all of these men are great, noble, honorable people. You don't get that in the secular, and Catholic tends to avoid that. So again, something else for us to look at. But one of the great things that I'm going to do is, because in addition to the theological studies that we've picked out, I'm going to be teaching them the errors of Americanism. It's actually a heresy, and there are papal encyclicals and documents about that if you're interested. And so we are going to be going over that because a lot of Protestant writings would be labeled heresies of Americanism. Again, I want them to be able to see it, read it for themselves, grapple with the material so that they can hear how it's phrased, how it sounds, what it looks like. Because you can tell somebody the heresy of Americanism and what it is all day long, but unless you can give your children an example, they aren't always able to piece A plus B together. I know I'm not, so that's another reason for this. Plus, we are going through and studying Freemasons and Freemasonry. So my last video with Catholics, know your faith and don't use good and the beautiful, this kind of piggybacks off of that. And you will be surprised to learn that 50 to 75% of all of the names of founding America on up through the pioneer days are absolutely Freemasons. There are so many people I didn't know would have been associated with it, and they are. So all of that is going to be tied into it because we won't get any of those perspectives from Story of Civilization. You won't get that from Seton. You won't get that from any of the other Catholic companies. If she's interested in continuing that study and seeing how those players moved, oh great, someone's calling me, wonderful. Then we're gonna go with this book. That's my husband. He's probably at the grocery store wondering what he should be getting. We're gonna continue this. Pause it. Okay, back. She's going to continue on with her history timeline. This is School Nest, $10-12 on Amazon, nothing fancy. Keeping in that vein, she's going to go into geography, Master Books. It was this choice or Seton. Seton is pretty much a secular geography series. The only thing about it, that's one of the things that I bought earlier this year and ended up returning. However they have it organized, I think it's by country. You flip to the country, and the only thing in there talks about the patron saint for that particular country. Every other piece of information they give you, you wouldn't know it's a Catholic book without looking at the cover of the book and seeing that it's from Seton Publishers. I don't want that for my kids. I want them to have faith throughout their books. Now, granted, this is not Catholic. However, a great deal of the history that they go into buttresses with Catholicism very nicely. A lot of the pictures that they use are actually of Catholic monuments, Catholic churches and cathedrals, so it works nicely. I would rather my children have a God-centered and God-focused program that isn't Catholic than them have something that is secular. And I've got to pause this again. Okay, we are back for yet another go with this and try to get through all of this. We've made it through geography. Now we're moving on to languages. She is interested in doing something akin to a world languages course. I took that when I was in school and I really liked it. And when I was in school, it was a study of 12 different languages. So we don't really have that option, but we do have these books. And I found these at Christian Books, I think it was, christianbooks.com, and it comes with a little fold out thing here. It's essentially like a little brochure that you would take traveling with you on words, how to make it through the streets without your phone, if you could imagine doing that. How to order food, how to get a hotel room, all of those things. And so this is essentially a workbook setup. It's colorful, and this comes with a download. It's either YouTube or it's a download for free, and it goes through all the pronunciations. This is the back of it. They have one for, we're doing Italian, they have Spanish, French, English, Russian, Portuguese, I think maybe Chinese. They have several. And so if you finish this one little book, it is akin to 1 credit of high school foreign language. And so if you do the French or the Spanish, you can pick something else and go into that and do another year for your 2 years of one language. Okay, we are done with all of those main things. Now we are going to be getting into the literature books that I have assigned. I decided to buy her a reading journal. She's been wanting to do book report-ish sort of things and then just keep a log for herself of what she's reading. And this is her history go-along books. If you are interested in this one, this is from Bethlehem Books. This is also Philip Campbell. This is an out of print from Warren Carroll. This cost me a pretty penny to buy this. This is very hard to find, so if you're interested in this, you'll just have to keep your eyes open on eBay, but be prepared that some listings are going to be as much as $200. I did not spend that much, but it is a lot of money. More Philip Campbell. And this book, these two books kind of dovetail into each other. Christopher Columbus, also Philip Campbell. This is a little bit thicker one. And this was a fun book that I found through recommendation, I believe, of Census Fidelium, if you've ever heard of them or listened to them on YouTube. This is a Confederate chaplain. So it is a priest for the Confederate side in the Civil War. And it's his diary of everything he wrote while working as a chaplain for the South. So that is a very fun perspective. You often don't see a lot of Southern writing literature, but really to find one from a priest or a Catholic perspective of the South, of the Confederacy, that's unheard of. So I was able to find that one. That was pretty fun. And let's keep this going. Frederick Douglass. These will be quick, easy reads. And if you are interested, I was going to have her read these, but I've decided to keep them for high school for her study But this is a book on the heresy of Americanism, if you are interested in that for your high school student. And here is a book by the same author, and this tends to go into, obviously, the utopian vision, but a lot of Freemasonic principles are in this book. A lot of government, politics, separation of church and state would be covered in this book. And I think I got the sets for $35 or less. Okay, last stack is over here. And this is about the Oregon Trail and a bride that was married off without even knowing her spouse before marriage. Also about the Oregon Trail. My daughter likes the show Bonanza, if you've heard of that, so I thought she would like these types of books. I have no idea which one comes first in this series. There's 4 of them, so I'll have to look at that. Blocking the author. This ties into the nursing in hospitals. Again, frontiersmen. And the last 3 books. She wants to continue with book and a movie studies, so she has a long list of books that will probably take her a couple of years to get through, and she's going to be checking out the vintage movies to go along with it, writing reports, comparing and contrasting. She's going to be doing her narrations on that. That goes along with the art of composition, and there's so many things that she wants to keep studying and adding to this pile. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what it's like working with a gifted child who goes a million miles per minute in her head and wants to know and do and read a million things at a time, and how I'm trying to give her the best opportunities to get that information, while also trying to help her learn to assimilate that information and apply it to her and her future. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Give me a like and subscribe. And if you've made it this far, wow, congratulations, because we're at 28 minutes. Thanks for your watch. Thanks for your views. Thanks for your subscriptions, and I'll talk to you later.